Welcome, dear students, once again. Today we are going to study the new topic, that is unit number 7 from our textbook in English for class 9, Honeydew. And the name of the text that we are going to study today is packing. Is it visible to you all? Packing, number 7 unit, the text. Can you see? Yes, dear students. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it's there now on your screen, the text. You may also keep your textbook open. So when we read the title packing, what do you understand from that word packing? What do you think or what comes to your mind first when you hear about packing? Anybody? Ankush? No? Simply we pack something, that is called packing. And when do we pack our bags? When we are going for a long trip or some other place to visit, isn't it? That time we pack. Am I right? Do you agree, dear students? Ankush, Madhura, Sanskruti, Saili, Shardul, Sia, say
Yes,
something,
sir.
dear students. So that time only we pack, na? Otherwise, if we are shifting from one place to another, that time we pack. And even sometimes we find that many things are there, scattered here and there at home, and you try to pack them properly and put at one place. So there are many instances that we pack or we do packing, right? So let's see here what does the author pack and when. But before that, I would like to ask you some questions. Do you like going on trips? Simply yes or no. Do you like going on trips, dear students? Yes or no? Shardul, Saili, Sanskruti, Madhura, do you like going to trip or on trip?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Sir.
Okay, good. Then
Yes,
what
sir.
kind of trips? What kind of trips do you enjoy most? Hill stations or abroad or at the sea coast, coastal areas like Konkan?
Stations.
Hmm?
Hill station.
Hill stations. Very good. And we enjoy our trips very well. And it varies person to person what kind of trips they like most, right? Now the next question here, how a trip? When it comes that you are going tomorrow very early in the morning, on trip, it needs that we should prepare and do packing. So the question here is about that only. That how do you feel about having to pack for a trip? What are your feelings that time? What do you think? Firstly, you are very excited that you are going. Yes, Prathamesh? Prathamesh? Sorry, Pratham Khandalwal. You want to say something, not here?
Yes,
We are
sir.
very excited. Yes?
Yes, sir.
Then, we think of the different things we may need during the trip, and accordingly we make a list of them and then we start packing. Right? Is it the way that you pack? Or firstly you start packing anything you think, then another. That way you just go on putting everything in bag, or you have proper sequence that in this pocket I will keep this thing, in that thing, and accordingly after you plan, you collect the things and then pack. What do you do? Yes, dear students. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
what
sir.
do? You just go on thinking and or whatever you find at home, you just go on packing, or you firstly plan the things you required, and as per the need, you decide firstly that in this pocket of the bag you will put this thing, in another pocket you will put this thing, and then you start collecting the things. And after you find that yes, everything is there, then accordingly you or a bucket of the bag. What do you do? No answers at all. Dear students, I'm really doing, you know, I'm telling answer. You have to say simply, sir, yes, we'll do like this. There is nothing difficult.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Ankush?
Sir, please admit Varun in the class. He is telling me to say you right. He is not able to join the.
Added, dear, added. Admitted, dear.
Okay, sir.
He is there with us.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Then the next question, have you ever discovered on a trip that you have forgotten to pack a few things you were very much need or that you can't find them easily? Does it happen with you? Has it ever happened, or is there any such kind of your experience that you wanted, especially for example, if you have gone on a trip and you did not bring your own torch, and there you come across the darkness, and there was lack of electricity, and so you needed a torch, but it was not with you. Or it can be any other example. Sometimes, we are going for 2 3 days and we forget our brush, toothpaste, and all. Neither we can buy them outside easily because you are staying at some remote area at hill station. So it happens generally. So, do you have any such kind of experience, dear students, in any of your trips, or no? Or whatever was required, that was there, everything with you, and so you never discovered on your trip any such kind of experience that you have forgotten something to pack. What is your experience? No answer. Am I audible, dear student?
Yes, sir.
Simply yes, no, nothing you are saying.
Yes, sir.
Or should I just go on saying myself and you please tell me that, sir, you please don't ask any question. We are not at all interested in answering neither yes or no, nothing we want to say. Just go on teaching. That's your business. I'll do that. But say something. I'm telling answers myself. I'm just requesting you to say yes, no, agree, no, something at least. Just muting yourself, keeping quiet, saying nothing at all. It really discouraging me, dear students. I think this is fourth or fifth day I have been observing and requesting you for the same, but there is no improvement I have found. Please cooperate, dear students.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, sir.
Does this
Sir.
make you angry or does it make you laugh at yourself? For example, if you have forgotten something that you were in great need there at one place. For example, you have gone for trekking and you have forgotten your spike shoes only. So you will be, very angry with yourself that you have forgotten, or you will just laugh at yourself. What would you do? Laugh or angry? That at least you
Angry.
should say one
Angry.
word.
Sir, I'll be angry.
Yes.
I,
How it happened that you have forgotten, right? So it generally happens, and others will laugh at you that you have come, for example, for trekking and you have not brought anything with you. You have simply come like in a school uniform that you have brought. So others will laugh, and you will also start laughing like that how it happens, right? Now read this description of how the author and his friends packed. So here is now we are going to learn about the author and the way they have packed their things while they were going on trip. So I'll just firstly share with you the summary, then we'll watch a video also, and then I will explain the lesson word to word, line to line. It will help us. It will help us understand the text very well, very well. It's really interesting and funny story here. There is a humor also that you can enjoy. So please also listen to the story. The link I have already shared with you, and read it yourself. So here, the narrator of the story, Jerome, was proud of his packing skills. He finds himself that he is very good at packing. But he was supposed to go on a trip with his friends, George and Harry. So these are the three friends, Jerome, George, and Harry. He told them to leave the whole matter of packing to himself, to which they readily agreed. Jerome was much interested in packing. So they both also agreed that yes, you pack for all of three of us. Then George sat on the easy chair and Harry cocked his legs on the table and watched Jerome do the packing. And those both of their friends, George and Harris, just sat nearby watching Jerome the way he was packing. But this wasn't what Jerome wanted. Jerome agreed that he's going to pack, but he wanted some support from both of his friends. But they simply sat and were just, doing nothing but looking at him the way he was packing. When he said that he wanted to do all the packing himself, what he meant was that he was willing to be in charge of everything and direct his friends to do work efficiently under his supervision. And when he said that he would like to pack, then he expected that they would both do the packing and he will just be there as a supervisor, that you do this thing there, you put it there, you bring this thing and that, we have forgotten this, you bring, he just wanted to give instructions and do the supervision. But it happened exactly differently, that they both simply sat and he was only now supposed to do everything, even collecting the things and putting them in bag and pack everything. So he was really pissed at them for just sitting about watching him work. It was uncomfortable for Jerome to sit just idle and see another person work alone. His energetic nature made him want to get up and superintend. And here Jerome, he just was saying his friends that they were doing nothing but sitting. And there, his nature was to get up and superintend. He was not actually interested in working, but getting the work done was there in his nature. But here it happened that he had to work alone, and he was little disappointed. Then let's see the way he packed. When Jerome packed the bag, Harris pointed out that Jerome had forgotten to pack the book. And now both of his friends started supervising him and started giving him instructions that Jerome, you have forgotten to pack the boots. Then what happened? So he had to open the bag again and pack his boots in just he was going to close it. He doubted if he had packed his toothbrush. And after he was reminded by his friend Harris that he had forgotten boots, there he comes, with another idea in his mind. Either he has put the toothbrush in bag or not. Either he has packed it or not. Then whenever he would be about to travel, he would get nightmares of forgetting to pack his toothbrush. You know why it happened? That every time, whenever he had traveled before, almost every time, he had forgotten to pack the brush. And then he would wake up and go out to hunt for it. Then in the morning, he would pack it before he used to eat. And then he had to unpack again to get it and would repack, forgetting to put the toothbrush in again. And every time it had happened that he had forgotten. And so he had made it habit that to ensure that it is there. And so after doing this packing almost twice, because firstly he packed everything, but when he was reminded that he had not packed the boots, then he had to open everything out and put the boots at the proper place and again pack. And after that he remembers about the brush. Then he had to rush upstairs to fetch it. He always ends up carrying the toothbrush wrapped up in his pocket handkerchief. And he used to wrap that toothbrush with handkerchief and carry that toothbrush with him all the time so that he should never forget. And finally, here he went up the upstairs and bring that toothbrush. and again packed the bag. As usual, Jerome had to search the whole bag. He found George and Harry's toothbrushes 18 times over, but he could not find his own toothbrush. But there, even if he went up and tried to search for the brush, even he opened the bag, found his both of friends, George and Harry's toothbrushes, but could not find his own, and so was getting little upset and was searching for the toothbrush here and there. Did he finally find it? Let's see. At last, he found it inside a boot and he had to repack once more. And where did he finally find the brush? In the boots that he had packed. Second time. And it was the third time that he had opened the bag and was searching for his own toothbrush. He found both of his friends, but not of his own. But finally found, and where it was? In the boots. After he was done, George asked him if the stove was in, but Jerome was so exhausted that he just did not seem to care. And this time another friend, George, instructed that he should ensure that there must be a soap in the bag. But he was really very exhausted with the work that he had done, thrice opening the bag and ensuring everything was there, and so he did not show any interest, and he was least bothered about the soap. But after he strapped the bag again, he noticed that he had packed his spectacles inside, and he had to open the bag again. Even if he ignored George and was not bothered about the soap, but after he just strapped the bag and remembers that somewhere he has lost his spectacles, and where he remembers that he has put in the bag, and again he had to open the bag and get that spectacles out. Finally, he finished packing at 10:05 p.m. and now George and Harris decided to pack the food hamper. And it was 10 p.m. and more 5 minutes at night. Next day morning, they were supposed to leave. He was really very much tired and he thought that he finished with the packing. But there was now the turn. George and Harris took over and they decided to pack the food hampers. So George and Harris started by showing that they were better than Jerome at packing. And now they both, told Jerome that he was not at all good at packing, but they both are very good. And so they started. Now let's see the way they packed their bags, especially the food items. Jerome was excited to see how they would proceed. As he anticipated, they started with breaking a cup. And they began with breaking a cup only. They could not realize that it could be broken easily. And simply, they put that cup in a bag and found it broken the very next moment. It was a fragile item. Then what happened? Then Harris accidentally squashed a tomato by placing strawberry jam on top of it, and then he had to pick out the tomato with a teaspoon. And the next thing that they did, packing of tomato. Tomato at the bottom, and then jam on it. The bar of jam or the container of the jam on it. Tomatoes were squashed. And finally they had to collect those tomatoes squashed with teaspoon. Isn't it funny and interesting the way they are packing? One is better than the other or worse than one another. What do you say, dear student? Are they good or bad at packing? Hello, are you all there, dear students? Anybody? Good or bad? At least you say good, bad, something you should say.
Bad.
Bad at packing.
Very good. There are so many students, but hardly one or two could speak. Thank God. Then what happened? The third thing they did. Moreover, George stepped on the butter, and there was butter that they had brought, and George simply put his own feet on the butter, and you could imagine what might happen. Now it was Jerome's turn to sit back and watch them, which irritated them. And as it was irritating for Jerome that he was working and they both were sitting. Now what had happened at 10 o'clock at night? George and Harris were packing and Jerome was just looking at them and observing the way they were packing, and it irritated them. They stepped on things, put things behind them, and then they were unable to find them when they needed them. And for example, they want something, they used to step on it, come ahead, and they were trying to search it there. Rather, the thing was left behind, and that way they took very much time. And we can see here that they were not at all good at packing. They put the pie at the bottom and put heavy things on top of it, which ended up ruining the pies. They poured salt all over the place and did wonders with butter. And everything they have done here so wonderfully that they put the pie, like tomato toast squares, the same way, pie at the bottom, then the heavy things on it, it went bad at all. Then butter and also salt, they mixed up. They poured salt over the place and did wonders with the butter because they stepped on it, you understood. And that way you could imagine the way they had made the mess in their room while they were packing. Then George got the butter stuck to his slippers. And finally what happened? George got the butter, that butter on which he had stepped, it was all stuck to his slippers. After he got it off his slippers, they attempted to put it in the kettle, but it wouldn't go in. And finally, when they got that butter, they wanted it to put it in the kettle, but it didn't happen that they could easily collect it and put it again in the kettle. Then they put it down on a chair, but Harry sat on it and the butter stuck to his back. And finally, somehow they managed and put that butter all on the chair, and Harris by mistakenly sat on it. Then they went around looking for it after a lot of searching. And after Harris sat on it, they were searching everywhere for the butter. And at last, after searching for a longer time, George discovered that it was at the back of Harris the whole time, and finally they packed it in the teapot. And after, Harris got up, and George and Harris, they were looking around here and there in search of the butter. George noticed that it was on the back of Harris because Harris had sat on it, that was put on the chair, right? So this way they finally collected it and put it in the teapot. So this is the interesting story and very humorous. And then their pet dog, Montmorency, came into the scene only to add to the commotion. And as already few of the persons or friends have already made much mess there, there comes their pet dog, Montmorency. And did he help or spoil their packing? Let's see, that is interesting. Montmorency was a naughty dog whose aim in life was to create hurdles and get scolded. And that Montmorency was always there to trouble them, was really very naughty dog. He could never help, but even his help could be hurdles or interruption for others, and was being scolded all the time. So what did he do here? Let's see. It was only when he was screamed at that he felt that his day had not been wasted. And when somebody screams at him or gets angry and scolds, then only he thinks that he has done something well today. Otherwise, he thinks that his day is wasted if anybody doesn't scold him and if he doesn't trouble anybody. That kind of a dog this Montmorency is. Then do you think he can help? Of course, no. He might have done something wrong. And what's it? Let's see. So just when things were ready to be packed, he came into the room and sat on them. And everything now was there ready to be packed in a bag. And there he comes and sit on those items that they were supposed to. And after he sat there, let's see what Harris and George think. Whenever Harris and George extended their hand for anything, Montmorency made it point that they reach for his nose. And he put his leg into the jam, disorganized the teaspoons and hampered the lemons. And finally, as he himself was sitting on the thing, Harris and George, they were searching for them and used to just extend the hand for collect the thing, and there comes the nose of Montmorency, but not the thing, because he himself was sitting on them and was being a hurdle all the time for them. And then what he did, he simply put his legs into the dam, disorganized that spoons, and also hampered the lemons over there, misunderstanding that they are the rats. So this way the story is very interesting. And at last, after uncountable obstacles and tremendous efforts, finally the packing was done at 12:50 midnight. At 10:05, Jerome was done. Then Harris and George took over, and it ended at 12:50 midnight. Then Harris sat on the hamper, hoping that nothing was broken. And George consoled himself and Harris by saying that if anything was found broken, then it would be because it was already broken. And finally, they say that they have not broken anything, but if something it happened that they found was broken, they say here that the things were not broken by them, but they were already broken. And they all were ready for bed and decided to wake up at 6:30 in the morning. And George was already asleep by then, so George and Jerome placed the bath where he could tumble into on getting up in the morning and went to bed themselves. And this way, dear students, their packing is done. Here we will watch one video and then word-to-word explanation and reading of the text. We will continue in the next session. Right? Would you like to watch a video, dear students?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
At least some idea you got after I have shared with you the summary.
Yes.
You please read it again and also listen to the text. It will help us understand. It's very interesting, dear students, to read it. It creates a tremendous humor for us. And while you are reading, you will just go on laughing at them, the way they are trying to.
Here is the summary of the story Packing by Jerome K. Jerome. Jerome, the narrator, was proud of his ability to pack anything. So he told his friends George and Harris to leave the packing up to him. To his surprise, they readily agreed to his suggestion. This was not what Jerome intended. His idea was to instruct George and Harris to do the work while he supervised them. He disliked it when people sat idly and did nothing while he did all the work. Jerome was irritated, but he decided to start packing. It took him longer than anticipated, but he finally managed to pack everything. However, just when he was closing the last bag, Harris asked him if he had packed in the boots. Jerome was annoyed. He thought it was just like Harris to remind him of the boots when he was almost finished with packing. Of course, he had to open the bag and pack the boots inside it. It was then that he remembered his toothbrush. His toothbrush gave him trouble every time he traveled somewhere. He would pack it the night before and unpack it in the morning to use it. Then he would forget to repack it and would have to rush at the last moment to get his toothbrush and run to the station. He unpacked his bag again, but he could not find the toothbrush. He had to reopen everything again to find it. Finally, he found it inside a boot. Poor Jerome had to repack everything once again. By this time, Jerome was exhausted. He gave in to Harris's suggestion to let him and George do the packing. George and Harris took over from Jerome. But Jerome did not think they would do any better than him. He believed that George and Harris were the worst packers in the entire world. Jerome was right. Almost immediately, they broke a cup. Then Harris packed strawberry jam on top of a tomato. The jam squashed the tomato, and they had to scoop the tomato out with a spoon. Jerome said nothing, but came over to watch. This made George and Harris even more nervous. They were so nervous that they packed the pies at the bottom and the heavy things on top. The pies were completely smashed. Then they started packing the butter. Jerome had never seen anyone treat a stick of butter the way George and Harris did in his entire life. George stepped onto the butter. He and Harris had to scrape it out of his slipper. Then they tried to put it in a kettle, but that did not work. So they had to scoop out all the butter from the kettle and put it on the chair. Harris then sat on the butter. Now it was stuck to him. George and Harris, not knowing this, looked for the butter everywhere. Finally, George found it sticking to Harris. They managed to get it off Harris and put it back in the teapot. Their packing became more complicated with the addition of Montmorency. Montmorency was Jerome's dog, and it was his ambition in life to get in everyone's way. If he went a day without things being thrown at him, he felt his day wasted. Now he came and sat on the things to be packed. He put his leg into the jam, upset the teaspoons, and pretended that the lemons were rats. He squashed 3 of the lemons before Harris chased him away with a frying pan. Finally, the packing was done at 12:50 a.m. The 3 of them decided to go to bed. George asked them at what time should they wake up. Harris said 7 and Jerome said 6. This led to a debate between the two. In the spirit of compromise, they finally settled on waking up at 6:30. They turned to ask George for his opinion, but he had fallen asleep during the debate. Jerome and Harris placed a bathtub next to him. This way, when he woke up in the morning, he would tumble into it. Finally, Jerome and Harris went to bed as well.
Understood the story, dear students? Is it interesting?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Finally, you saw that they
Yes.
arranged a bathtub there, just next to the bed, so that as soon as George gets up, he should tumble into the tub, and it may help them all to get up at 6:30, right? So this is the way these 3 friends, George, Harris, and Jerome, are trying to pack their bag. Do you also pack your bag this way? Yes, dear students? While you are going on trip, do you also plan the same way that they do here? Or no, it's not so messy and you do it very well with proper plan. How do you do? Yes, Sally? Again, you started with the same thing, saying nothing at all. Let her speak if you want. Yes, dear students, are you enjoying troubling me this way? That let's keep quiet, let us speak. If we don't give any response, he will himself carry on saying himself and will end the session. We have nothing to do. It is his business to teach, and let him do that. Right? Again, quiet means you are agreed. Very good.
No, sir.
Then
No,
why
sir.
why is there so much of quietness? Not a single word anybody speaking. Yes, no, nothing at all. Yes. Hello everyone. I can understand that there must be some nervousness or some kind of feelings being home so longer. But don't be quiet. Be attentive, be talkative, be responsive, and make the session interactive. It will help yourself only to understand the things in a better way, and also others can take or get some benefits of it. So it's my humble request, dear students, again that you please answer the questions. Simply, I don't ask you difficult questions, dear students. It's simply yes or no. You agree, understood, yes, no, something you should say.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Very good.
Agree, sir.
Thank you, dear Pranav, Rajnandini, Yogiraj. Thank you so much, dear students. 1 or 2 at least, go on speaking, no? it encourages, and here I find that yes, you are there and getting me. Sometimes we may then understand that you are just keeping aside mobile phone and nobody is bothered about it, and you are doing something else. So it is just waste of time, na? And even your data is being consumed. So thank you again. Again tomorrow I will show you 2 more videos with the summary. Can we start now reading and some part of explanation? We have 10 minutes with us, 8 to 10 minutes. Can we start?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very
Yes,
good.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Even if you have
Yes, sir.
already understood the things here, the content, but some of the things we will find extra that we are not covered in the summary and all, even in the videos. So it is always better, especially the textbook, the higher, to read it thoroughly, word to word, line to line. I said I would pack. So who do you think is the speaker here? I said I would pack. Now you know everything. So who do you think I is here?
Jerome.
Very good.
Okay.
Absolutely. So I rather pride myself on my packing. Packing is one of those many things that I feel I know more about than any other person living. It surprises me myself sometimes how many such things there are. Here it is a sense of humor he is doing that he finds himself that he is the best on the planet. The person living means is better than any other person on this earth at packing. And he finds that there are many such things that he is the best person, and he himself is surprised at himself that there are how many things that he is best at. He is surprised himself at what he is telling us. But let's see if he is really that kind of best person. No, as we already know. I impressed the fact upon George and Harris and told them that they had better leave the whole matter entirely to me. They fell into the suggestion with a readiness that had something uncanny about it. George spread himself over the easy chair and Harris cocked his legs on the table. And finally, they both were very relaxed and they agreed that yes, you do it. And George simply, spread himself over the easy chair, sat in a relaxed way, just saying the way he was packing. And Harris putting his tables on the table, cocking the legs. You know how people sit sometimes, and that way he sat, as if he's a boss and he's just a servant. Jerome, and he was ordered by them both to work, even if he himself had taken initiative that he would like to pack himself. But his intention was what? We'll see here in the next para. This was hardly what I intended. This was hardly what I intended means. Hardly is an adverb. It shows. This was not at all that he intended. Rather, he expected something different. And what did he expect? Here it is given. What I had meant, of course, was that I should boss the job and that Harris and George should potter about under my direction. I pushing them aside very now and then with, oh, you, here, let me do it. There, you are simple enough. Really teaching them, as you might say. And you wanted to boss them. And during their packing, you can just interrupt them. Hey, this is not the proper way that you are doing. Let me do it. I'll show you how to do. And hey, you are simple enough. This is the way you are doing. And that way he wanted to boss them. But it happened that they both simply sat and finally Jerome had to pack alone himself. So they're taking it in the way they did irritated me. And the way they took it, because simply they were very relaxed and left everything to him that he should pack. It really irritated Jerome himself. And he regretted for his decision that he said them that they should leave that entirely to him. Right? So there is nothing that irritates me more than seeing other people sitting about doing nothing when I'm working. And it happens with everyone that you yourself are working. Even if you are not supposed to do it alone, but you are doing it alone and others are just making fun or just sitting and doing nothing. It really irritates everyone. And that's what here Jerome says, that it is the most irritating thing that he finds for himself. And that only happened even this time that he was working and was packing everything, and they both were simply sitting. One of them in a chair and another just cocking the legs on the table. Then the third para, let's see what does he give here the details about. I lived with a man once who used to make me mad that way. He would loll on the sofa and watch me doing things by the hour together. He said it did him real good to look on at me, messing about. Now I'm not like that. I can't sit still and see another man slaving and working. I want to get up and so pretend and walk around with my hands in my pockets and tell him what to do. It is my energetic nature. I can't help it. And you know, he finally says and shared with us one more example in his past life that there was a person, a man with whom he was staying, and there what that man used to do, he used to simply sit on the sofa and always ask everything to do to Jerome only. And for hours, Jerome used to work, and that man used to simply sit on sofa and watch and look at him. And if it needs, he used to just guide him to do the thing in a better way. But here, that fellow used to tell Jerome that he was really enjoying, you know, looking at Jerome the way he was messing the things about, and you know that way he shares one example in his past life. But here he said, I'm not that kind of a person who just sits and wants the other people do the work for him. But I'm another kind of person. And what kind of person he's saying? He's saying he is that he doesn't just sit in the chair and ask others to do, but he takes a round about them, putting his hands in his pockets and telling them what to do and what not. And he says that is in my energetic nature, and I can't help it. That is his nature of just bossing. He can't simply sit and let others do. That also he can't do. He can just go and interrupt them and guide them the way he wants that the thing should go in a way. Are you getting there, students? In para number 3, he has mentioned two important things. He shared firstly one of his experiences in the past, that there was a man with him who used to simply sit on the sofa and wanted Jerome to do everything. But here Jerome says that he is not like him, that just sitting and others are doing. But he says that he just goes and puts his hands in pockets and tell them that you should do this and that. So which one is better? Just to sit and let others do the work, and go and do the bossing? What is better?
Sir, go and do the bossing.
That is better than just sitting.
Yes, sir.
Really? For example,
No, sir, actually
Yes.
helping is the better option.
which is better, sitting or bossing?
Sir, both of them are not good. Helping is good.
Yes, very good. Absolutely. That's what was expected. You have got it very well. We will again discuss and continue with the same text. Thank you so much, dear students. That's it for today.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Bye,
Bye,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Bye, sir.
I will share the question answers as and when possible. Please write them. Right? Okay. Good day. Bye.
Bye, sir.
Bye.
Bye, sir.
Bye, sir.
Bye, everyone.